OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Our best bets later in the hour on both football games this weekend. Luke Willson coming up here in a moment on Chiefs-Bills, Commanders-Eagles, his take on Pete Carroll being hired as the head coach for the Raiders. And Cowboys still looking for a coach. Saints still looking for a coach. So we'll catch up with Luke here in a few moments. And Al's brother coming in hot with which game we're going to take, who we're going to pick. Got to get the totals. If you're looking for an updated standings for this playoff pursuit, it is Team Owen Wilson with 6 points, Team Hayes-B with 5 points. It's 6-5 as it currently stands. So we've got ourselves that is so much better than 1-1 like last week. 6-5 kind of sounds real and like we've actually accomplished something.
It's a dogfight. I love it.
It's a dogfight.
6-5 sounds a lot more professional than 1-1.
Like
Big
you
time.
guys know what the hell you're doing. Like last week, I could sense the embarrassment in all four of you. I just sat there and watched, and like all four of you came out. It was different, your approach, but there was an apology from all four of you. Oh, actually, three of you apologized.
Doogie and Hayes and Al's brother came up with this format. You lose everything. The other team gets the point. That's what keeps the juices flowing.
I hear you, but this is what it is now.
Right? I get it.
That's the way it's going to go.
Actually, three guys apologize, and one guy has the arrogance to believe that he knows everything about football, and it's the one guy who's on a cruise. Like
Al's brother, yeah, exactly.
He will never apologize for anything.
Never for anything.
Just doubles down.
Yeah, it's always someone. It's the team's fault. The coach is a moron. The refs, it's rigged. Right? There's always something. And you've noticed this week a lot of people digging on the Chiefs and the penalty calls, and I saw, was it ESPN that came up with this graphic, I believe, that when you look at the penalties called for and against the Chiefs since the year 2021, all right, 36 penalties called on the Chiefs in the playoffs, 66 against their opponents.
Discipline or scam?
Well, I think it's somewhere in the middle. I do think discipline factors in. I think they're really well coached. I think they're a championship caliber team, and whoever's going to win the Super Bowl is going to have less penalties than everyone else they play against. Like undoubtedly that's going to happen. But I also think that there's a flag or two. Tie goes to Mahomes. Far too often.
Those Mahomes referee memes, they go off the charts.
Crazy.
I don't know how people are making those, but like they make you laugh, but they're rampant during a game. Like,
they are.
It's gotten to the point. It drives people nuts, even if they're not involved, not a fan. They're like, "This is insane."
Well, and in Buffalo, they're bracing for it. I saw someone tweet out, a hypothetical tweet like, Jim Nantz calls out, and it's picked off, and the Bills are going back to the Super Bowl, and then Tony Romo right underneath is like, "Hold on, Jim, there's a late flag," and it was like one of those tweets where you read it and you can picture that coming. Yeah. You can picture it coming where Mahomes gets picked off and then there's a flag on holding across the field that had nothing to do with anything, and you're like, really? Gets the ball back, marches down the field, scores a winning touchdown, and see you later.
Where are you guys at with it's rigged for Kansas City?
It's not rigged. It's definitely
not rigged. Pro sports can never be rigged,
It's
man.
not rigged.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, every time Kansas City plays, it's trending, and there's memes of Mahomes kissing refs and hugging them and talking.
Well, hang on. I shouldn't say it can't be rigged because there was a ref, my buddy, the NFL ref, Donaghy. He got busted for trying to fix games.
Yeah, he admitted
right. Yeah, listen, there was a Raptor that is doing prison time because he was.
So I actually will take that. I rescind that comment. I'll take that comment back. Pro sports are not supposed to be fixed, but in reality, Hayes, like whatever that guy was doing, he wasn't affecting the grand total of the score, was he? He was doing individual.
Wilson is cooking.
I didn't expect him to cut you off. His partner he cuts off.
Totally fine with it. Bringing in a professional. It's Super Bowl season, and I want to hear the best in the business, so bring him in.
All right. Here he is. One half of Team Owen Wilson, currently leading 6-5 over Hayes-B. Here's Luke Willson. Luke, how you feeling about your boy Pete Carroll getting back into the game, getting hired down with the Raiders?
I mean, I'm jazzed. Makes you want to get in the gym. Saw Pete a text message say, listen, you need a third-string tight end, locker room guy. come get your boy. Let's go.
Wow. I love that idea, man. I love that.
I don't know if I could still, at my age right now, take a lot more. But seriously, though, I am excited for Pete. I think it'll be a fun kind of venture for them. And I think my most exciting part is I would consider Pete like a very good head coach. Obviously, I'm biased. Him and Harbaugh have a poor relationship. And then also, so he's in the same division. You got Andy Reid in there. You know, those are some big name. You got Sean Payton.
Right.
Like, those are some big name guys. So it's kind of a fun division now from a coaching perspective.
I think that's probably why he got the job. I mean, he won a Super Bowl. He's been a winner and all that. He's not a young guy, but I would guess this is Brady, you know, telling Davis, hey, you got Reid, Payton, Harbaugh. You can't bring in some kid. Like, you can't bring in some guy that doesn't have any way of navigating through the AFC West. I think he's got the worst team. He's got no quarterback. I think he's going to have a tough year coming up. But here's the thing: if you're the Raiders, if you're Raider fans, you look at it and say, well, Peyton turned it around in 2 years, made the playoffs. Harbaugh made the playoffs his first year. Like, I don't think Pete Carroll's got like 3 years to turn the ship around, Luke. Well, I think he's got to do it pretty quickly.
It's all in drafting of the quarterback. Yeah. If they screw up the quarterback, what is he? How old is Pete?
73.
73 years old. He doesn't exactly have a 5-year time period here to wait for a quarterback to develop.
No.
Yeah, I agree, guys. You said it, where he's got to come in there. And obviously he doesn't have to win the division next year, but I think it'd be a very good look if he could make a couple splashes. You know, could the Raiders upset one of those teams or get a split with 2 of the 4 teams in their division, win some games? So getting that, like, let's call it 6 to 8 win range. If they can somehow, you know, which is not going to be easy for that roster. But Pete's known to have a couple, you know, tricks up his sleeve, get the boys rolling, and then all of a sudden things can go from there.
Well, in terms of coaching vacancies, before we get to these 2 games this weekend, what do you think the Cowboys are doing, considering everyone else has been hired for the most part, and they still need a coach?
I was surprised, and so Brian Schottenheimer, I believe, is the front runner.
Yep.
That shocked me. I got to be careful what I say here. I was in Seattle with Brian as our OC in the 2020 year. I think 2019 and 2020, excuse me. And I like, you know, Shotty, but it's been weird because generally head coaches, when you get a job as a head coach, you've done like really well as an OC or DC, which Shotty has simply not. Now, obviously, as his dad and that sort of thing, but it's like, I don't know. You know, in Seattle, we were okay. We weren't like an elite, you know, top 2 offense in the NFL. And then since then, it's not like he's really made a ton of splashes in the league. So that one kind of shocked me. I really don't understand it. Yeah, I think, you know, as much as you want to say that's nuts, et cetera, I think the whole, like, Jerry wants somebody he can kind of control and not necessarily a big personality is definitely what's going on there in Dallas.
No question. No, or conversely, guys that actually have a presence realize they can't have it with Jerry Jones. So they take themselves out of the running. You know, anyone with any cachet, they're like, I'm not going to work for this guy. I can't handle him. You can't keep him in line. It's not going to happen. So in terms of what we're looking at this weekend, prior to having you on here, we're talking about the discussion that everyone's having in Buffalo, and that is the refereeing, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City. Where do you stand on this? You know, you played against Brady at his height. You played against Manning at their heights. Like, when you get these all-time great quarterbacks, do you kind of have an understanding that tie might go to the quarterback in the eye of the officials, and you kind of got to – do you prepare for that? Do you try to run from that? Like, what's it like, the build-up going into a game like this Sunday?
Yeah, to be completely honest, I think if you're the Bills and you're on that defense, you watch film, you talk about fundamentals, talk about, hey, avoid his head, but in the same breath, you got to get after him. Like, it's funny because I look at this matchup and I say to myself, I got a feeling me and Partsy are about to have to pick this thing. And I say to myself, we've talked all year, Josh Allen, Superman, Josh Allen, Superman. Well, Mahomes also has that ability. He obviously hasn't done it a ton this year. They haven't really needed to. Games he's played in, they've managed to win 15 of them that he's played in and lost one to Josh. And again, it's kind of like, if you want to win in this game, I still think that you've got to try and punish Patty Mahomes. And if that comes with a 15-yard penalty, so be it. You can't lay off or lay up. Again, clean. I'm not talking about anything dirty, obviously.
Yep.
But you can't lay off Patty Mahomes get cooking. You simply can't do it because that's a recipe for disaster.
Speaking of a recipe for disaster, there he is, my Partsy, Al's brother. Al's brother, it's great to see you again in the continental, portion of the country. You've been cruising around the world, and it's great to see you as always. And these guys, always trying to chip away at me earlier. What game are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick? And I wasn't going to reveal it because we earned this this luxury based on how well we played.
Let's hear it, Al's brother. Who are you guys going to take? What is the game?
Well, I don't think that it really is that difficult of a decision, to be quite honest with you, because there's one team and one team only that's destined for success this year, and it is the Buffalo Bills. So Hayesy-B and I are rolling with the Bills and Bills Mafia this weekend against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yes, we are.
I really don't think it's going to be, that difficult for them to win this game. And it's a short line, 1.5, basically a pick 'em. So it's pretty much who's going to win or lose. And I think this is the year Josh Allen gets it done. The Bills have the better offensive line. They got the better run game. And honestly, guys, you could say otherwise. I think they got the better quarterback right now. The way that Josh Allen has been playing, he's been an MVP level all season long. And I think it continues this week against the Chiefs.
I love
Partsy,
it,
before this guy, before they just made a fool of themselves, they didn't learn their lesson. You guys didn't learn your lesson. All year, anyone that went against the Chiefs got screwed, and I hope you do too on Sunday. Partsy, what are your thoughts?
Well, I got a question. This is for Hayes and Al's bro here. One of the things that's weird, and you want to talk about just amateurs, and you can see, Partsy, how these guys have clearly never won a regular season. Nothing. Because you know that I'm not going to pick the Bills. You know that. So why wouldn't you, if you're going to take the Bills, this goes back to last week. I would have taken the Ravens 10 times out of 10. Why, if you guys had 2 brain cells between both of you, you would have given us that game and you still would have been on the Bills. And now you get to pick the other one.
Well,
last week would have been the same thing, and you wouldn't be trailing.
Because we have the stones to do it, right, Al's brother? We have the stones to do it. And the points, it's a different structure here. We can't allow you to backdoor points in our direction. We got to go out and get them. We got to chase points, and that's what we've done here, Al's brother. We had the stones to do it last week. We picked correctly, and we have the stones to do it this week. We're on the Bills, man. I said it last week. I thought whoever won the Bills-Ravens game was going to go to the Super Bowl. I have no reason to change that. I know the Chiefs are great. I know Mahomes is great, but I agree with your assessment of the way Allen's playing. I love the way he's controlling the ball right now. I think they win at the offensive line. I think they win in the run game, and I can't wait for this game. I love it, and we're getting points. At a minimum, we're getting points here. Even though it's 1.5, we're getting points, Al's brother.
I'm not talking smack about the pick, boys. I don't understand why you wouldn't let me pick this game.
I hear you.
Because I would have went with the Chiefs, and you'd have the Bills either way.
Yeah, Al's
and
brother.
Now you gave us the layup of the year. The other game is the layup of the year.
Oh, you think so?
Oh.
Okay.
Beg to differ.
I can't wait to hear what you guys are going
to
do.
Go ahead. Okay, you're dumb if you don't know this is the layup of the year.
Okay, make the pick.
Go ahead.
Make the pick.
Parts.
The line is 6.5. Eagles minus 6.5.
Yeah, we're taking Philly all day.
All day for fun.
We're taking
for
Philly
fun.
all day.
Party's over, Commanders. Party's over.
Oh, my goodness. You guys are really taking Philly, or are you pulling a fast one on us?
Yeah, no, we're taking Philly, and let me explain, because I know you're going to come out here and be like, Jaden Daniels, and I tip my cap because the kid's been awesome. He's going to be the face of this league, and I think he's a stud. But let's take an honest assessment of this playoff run. Let's start with game 1 they had against the Bucs. Pretty evenly matched team. I would say 2 lower-tier playoff-level teams. What happens in that game? The Bucks go. They're in control. They fumble a snap. Little operation issue. Take advantage of it, the Commanders. The Bucks then get the ball back, march right down the field, and the center snaps the ball early. Ends up being a third down sack because no one's expecting the ball to be snapped. We kick a field goal, we give the ball back, we lose on a last-second touchdown. Okay, you beat the Bucks. The Lions came out here and puked all over themselves. 5 turnovers, an absolute abomination. Defense is atrocious. It was a peewee level defense with the injuries. You're now going up against our guy, Vic Fangio. You're now going up against Jalen Carter. And you're now going up against who I would say is the playoff MVP thus far in Saquon Barkley. Oh, and not to mention the best offensive line left in the playoffs right now in the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you don't think that Saquon's going for at least another $150, and if you think Jaden's scoring 30 on this defense, you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Okay.
He did it 6 weeks ago. Literally 6 weeks ago he went and put up 33 points.
So you think he's going to do it again?
Kenny Pickett was in. Kenny Pickett, you forget these things else, brother. Kenny Pickett's
I didn't
not
forget.
playing. Stop it. Stop it, man.
Listen, man, Dan Quinn, he's going to have a toque on backwards, and he's going to be – this is why we didn't want to touch this game, man, because we knew what you guys were going to do. We knew you'd fall into the trap. We were looking kind of at the Commanders, right, Alice, brother? And we're like,
we were Bills and Commanders. That's what we wanted. Bills and Commanders, and we got it.
And we're like, these guys are going to jump on the Eagles. And, yes, Barkley concerns us, and Commanders' run defense is not spectacular. But I think Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, and Jalen Hurts, he's going to get horny at some point and try to throw balls deep, and I guarantee you they get
So
picked
you're
off.
telling me not one part of you, both of you, think the party's over for the Commanders?
Listen, we had a little back and forth. I'm a little bit concerned. A little bit concerned.
That
we can see it.
That means that you know the party's over for the Commanders.
Listen, you can see it. I understand it. Rookies in the playoffs eventually do hit somewhat of a wall. I mean, it's definitely well documented, but I don't know, man. This guy's been so good, Al's brother. Like, Jade Daniels has been so good, and he's going to keep running that same offense.
Yeah, and you look at, the two games that – and look, these two teams have played each other twice this year already.
Right,
so there is a
divisional
sample
game.
size there,
Love it.
right? Like, there's going to be some gamesmanship. And you look at Jane Daniels in those two performances. Okay, the first one, he had a lingering injury, and Philly ended up winning that game, and Washington didn't do a whole lot. But then the second time around, the second time that he saw Vic Fangio's defense in action, when they were rolling, I might add, guy put up 5 touchdowns, 280 yards on the air, another 80 yards on the ground. He absolutely torched that Philly defense. I'm not talking about Kenny Pickett, the offense. He attacked and went after Vicky Fangio's defense that was rolling. I think he continues to do it again. And here's what I believe is actually going to be the big key. I think everyone's looking at the Commanders' run defense and saying, it's not too good. They rank 28th in the NFL in yards given up per carry. I think they're going to absolutely sell out to stop the run and make sure that Saquon Barkley doesn't put up a $150 and put the ball in the hands of Jalen Hurts. I don't know how healthy that guy is. You look at him in the second half of last week, he could barely walk, let alone play the game of football. And if you put the ball in his hands and he has to make a play late in the game, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. You're giving us 6.5 points. Do I think Philly can win this game by a touchdown? No, I don't. Can they win it? Can it be a late field goal? Possibly. A touchdown? I just don't see it happening, fellas.
I love that line.
That's all we needed. That's all we needed.
That's
all we needed.
I love being on the right side of that line. All right, totals here, Alice, brother. Bills, Chiefs, 48.5. Where's your head at? 48.5 on FanDuel is the total for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think both teams, the mantra is going to be, let's run the ball, let's turn the clock, and keep the ball out of the hands of the other quarterback. And that's going to lead to a pretty low-scoring game, low-possession game, and I believe this one leans to the under. And the Chiefs' offense has not been explosive this year. They're 11-7 to the under this season. I think Buffalo will want to keep up and keep Mahomes off the field, turn that clock. I think this game goes under the number 48.5.
48.5. We have been burned by unders. We have been consistently leaning on unders, but I think it's going to be cold. I think it's going to be windy. I think it's going to be a game in the trenches. I could see 24-21 Bills. I'm good to lock in the under. All right, we're on the Bills in the under. You guys are on the Eagles, and your total is 47.5. Do you like the over or the under?
Fartsy, I'll be completely honest with you. I'm leaning under here. Now, I think it's going to be – these guys in Vegas, this is what I think they're best at is these points. Mm-hmm. I think they're better at that than the spread because I've got it right around here, 46-48. But, again, the weather's supposed to be okay, I believe. It is obviously going to be cold. But I could see this bad boy being like 17-3 at the half, and the Eagles are just grinding out runs down the stretch here, keeping control of the clock. Commanders are going 3-0. We're playing the chess game and going to the Super Bowl. So I like the under, but I don't feel great about it.
Let's see what your partner has in store. I mean, you're going to hand out 6.5 points and take the under. I love that logic.
That's tough to do.
I love that logic.
That is tough to do.
Oh, you're going to go over the top or just punch it in?
Nah, I'm punching it in. I totally love – there's been some good assessments. Unfortunately, I do have to agree with some of the things Al's brother said. But not all of it. Mostly lies. He lies. He lies.
Oh, he lies.
But I love what my partner has said. We had a little powwow today, and we both agreed first and foremost that we will never speak to Al's brother away from this forum. And we got that straightened out immediately. And we also agreed on all of our picks, all of our spreads, everything. We are set to go.
All right. Well, listen, I love where we're at, Al's brother, because these guys, they're going to screw this up, and it'll be 6-5 at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. And
what if the differential is too great before the
I don't
Super
think it's
Bowl?
Possible because 3 points are up for grabs.
What do you mean it's not possible?
Well, because it's a 1-point spread. Let's say miraculously you guys get 3 points and we get none. You're up 4. There's 10 points up for grabs come the Super Bowl.
What?
Yes.
Says who?
Says Doogie, the commissioner. Doogie, I know he fell asleep after he sent the initial email. Tons of points at the Super Bowl.
So we're gonna ride this thing out until the end of the year and have it decided by the color of the Gatorade.
No,
get serious. No, how long the anthem is.
Going to be
get serious.
The total is going to be up for grabs. There's going to be the spread, and then there's going to be like quarterback props, running back props. Like real, actually in the game stuff.
Okay.
Real stuff, right? You know what's up.
I agree. Yeah. Talk to me, boys, because I don't want to sit here after because this year it's gotten personal, and we're on the verge of dunking on you two Muppets. Okay, I don't want to be burned by a coin flip in a Gatorade color.
Well, okay, so
stay loud, stay proud.
Stay loud, stay proud. Let's go ahead.
Let me jump in here. I think before everything, we should probably get Doogie involved as well. But you guys have to lay out some ground rules right now, heading into this weekend and heading into the Super Bowl, because what I've seen in the group chat is nobody's on the same page. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that wasn't agreed upon. And then there's fighting and infighting, and then there's some language that is unacceptable. And then you guys are, getting at each other.
Yeah.
To me, you've got to, you know what? Lay it out right now. Flush it out so that we know exactly the rules for the rest of this season, so that at the end when somebody wins you go, well, that was changed by Doogie because he's a scumbag.
Monahan. Yeah, well, we've got, like, Jay Monahan's our commissioner right now. Everything's completely out of whack.
He is a scumbag, though, Noodles.
Well,
he is a
big one.
Here's the way I see it, okay? One team takes the spread, one team takes the total, okay? So that's going to be on one side of it. Then I think there's a quarterback prop for each team, a running back prop, a wide receiver prop, a tight end prop. That's 4 more right off the bat. Those are real players that are in the game, like legitimate FanDuel.
How about this? We keep it simple, Hayes. The 2 that you just mentioned, the over-under and the spread.
And the spread, yeah.
And then you get to pick your other 2, and that's it.
So how many points do you want up for grabs in the Super Bowl? Like how many are up for grabs for each team?
I think 4 points could go up for grabs in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
4 to 6. 4 to 6. Go ahead, Parts.
Is there any way we can do this like almost like a reveal? Because what I get a bit anxious about here is like for the spread. Let's say hypothetically, just because I want our teams to win, it's Philly versus the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to kind of go on the show and be like, hey, we pick Philly or the Chiefs based on the spread, and we pick here's our points and here's our 3 best props, whatever it is. Yeah. What happens if both of us are like, oh, we want Patrick Mahomes overthrowing, and it's like, oh, no, you guys are allowed to have that, you're not.
Well, understandably. I mean, I think it probably – this is where Doogie's got to figure this out. And I would say Doogie has until 3 p.m. on Sunday to determine exactly what's going on here.
Could be some kind of trivia between Luke and Al's brother. Whoever gets the question gets to pick the first prop.
Okay.
I love that.
That is something we'd be willing to accept. We'd be willing to accept. I think, again, spread and total will be split. One team will get the spread, the other will get the total. I think that's just fair. We've been doing spreads and totals the whole time. And then the props, we could get a little bit crazy if you want. We could draft it out. Doogie will supply. Let's say, again, it's Kansas City against the Eagles. There'll be a Mahomes prop. There'll be a Hurts prop. One team will get Mahomes. The other will get Hurts. And then one team will get, A.J. Brown. The other will get, whoever it is. So, that's the way it's going to go. And Doogie, you've got until 3 p.m. on Sunday. And there needs to be a lawyer reading this over because I don't want commas.
Johnny Cochran, man.
Yes.
Johnny Cochran.
Employ a lawyer of significance to read through that contract because I don't want any funny business. Yeah. All right? Sounds good. Stay loud and stay proud. I agree. All right, the picks are in. Hayes and Bro, we're on the Bills plus 1.5 and the under 48.5. And Owen Wilson are on the Eagles minus 6.5. And under 47.5. Those spreads and totals all courtesy of FanDuel. So the picks are in.
I feel so great.
There you go.
I feel so good. This is why we gave them Washington, Philly, hoping they would take Philly and the under. You guys are the idiots.
Yep. We feel great, too.
We love
I
where
got
we're at.
two-time Super Bowl champ on my team. And,
yeah, we love where we're at. It's all good.
What do you guys got? Two-time Super Bowl champ.
A regular season winner. That's what I have. A
Champion.
Regular season winner.
And I beat you in a 40.
When the Eagles cover this thing and it's under, all I'm saying is we might pop the champagne then because we're on Patty Mahomes to basically cover by 2. Superman shows up, and we've clinched. We've clinched the way we're talking. Partsy, I'll see you on Sunday. Can't wait.
All right.
Get the booze ready. I'll start drinking again for that celebration.
Take it easy.
Love you, Parts.
There it is.
That's
Luke
popping
Willson.
champagne for wild card burst. That's baseball material, fellas. What are we doing?
Isn't that pathetic? These guys backdooring with 89 wins into the wild card, popping champagne. Al's brother and Luke Willson. Every incredible playoff moment on TSN is powered by Bud Light, a refreshing taste that's easy to enjoy. Tune in game day for pulse-pounding action. Dear Hayesy-B next.
People send in a tweet. They write us for our professional advice on life things. Dear Hayesy-B, every morning my boiler has a gas leak. My wife thinks it's the baby.
Dear Hayesy-B.
If you want to come to Hayesy-B, I need honesty from you.
Hazy, you got dumped a lot. Tell me. Tell him.
Grown adults with birthdays, it's asinine.
I love it. Spicing it up. Outstanding stuff. Dear Hayesy-B, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar. This January at BP, get delicious mouth-watering pasta starting at $11.99 every single day. Enjoy the pastas you love at the prices you can't miss. Hustle in your local BP tonight. All right.
You guys know how this works.
Mm-hmm.
We have not got a talk show yet. Well, we have our sports show, but I'm surprised we haven't branched out into something like a helpline.
I'm surprised by that as well. That other people within the Bell Media empire wouldn't see that vision and say, we got to get these guys out there and, really helping people.
People come to us and we help them out. And this first one is kind of bizarre, and I don't know how any of us three were going to find out, or my friend group would actually deal with this.
Yeah.
Dear Hayesy-B, my friend group and I are all in our mid-30s and a good mix of different relationship statuses. We're all pretty close-knit group, and one of the guys who we consider a leader of the group and has always dated good-looking girls showed up to a dinner party last Saturday with a much older woman, we believe, which is 60 to 63 years old.
Oh.
No one has said a word about this. Do we address the situation or let it slide? Nick in Pembroke.
Wow.
Got to be careful because I'm just
no, but Noodles,
I'm jump
wouldn't
in here
you pull
quickly.
the guys aside? You got to pull them aside and say, am I missing something here? You used to date Rockets and now someone double your age?
But what happened? Okay, what scares me is 2 words there. We believe, okay? What if she's 52 and just has some mileage on her or whatever, has an old face? That's what concerns me. Unless you've seen a birth certificate, that's what, because it just, you see guys that show up and be, geez,
But But Jamie, the why would keep coming back into play. Like, you would almost think it'd be some kind. No disrespect. Like, you would think it'd be some kind of like. Are you jazzing us here with this, or like what?
Listen.
Fine line.
Yeah, I can say I don't recall running into a scenario quite to that extent. But here's what I would say. I think you leave it, and the reason for that is, and we've had these conversations before. I'm 41, and I would say ever since I was in my early 30s to mid 30s, I relate more with people that are 50 or 60 than I would with people that are 20. So there could be a scenario there where this guy, whatever the connection is, it's, you know what?
Are you going with the old soul syndrome?
I'm thinking old soul, and I'm thinking mid-30s. The guy's like, hey, whatever. I got a lot of there's a lot to connect to here.
But dude, it sounds like this guy's the high school QB.
Well,
and then he shows up with someone's grandma at a dinner party, and you're not going to address it.
There's also a scenario again where once you're into your 30s, I think it's like, what you do whatever you're going to do, man. That's not my world. That's not my life. But it's not like you're in high school anymore and you're like, hey, what's going on? Passing notes. What are we doing here? Who cares what anyone else is doing?
I
guess
do agree
that would be my
with who cares. But I do think it warrants a sit-down at an old-school bar with just the men and just a bottle of brown liquor, and you get to the bottom of it.
And you say you walked in with a saddlebag with eyes. What's going on here? I need to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, what happened? Why did we go from rocket launchers to grandma? And we're just curious. That's it.
Listen, I'm curious.
It's an honest question. It's an honest question, but I keep coming back to, like, maybe there is a misinterpretation of what this person's age is.
Could be.
But you know what? We can't sound like, what is it called? Ageists? Like you can't, that's
well, it's
people
not like
are rude.
We're not in high school either. We're 3 old guys.
Nothing like that, but it just seems bizarre where somebody early 30s wheels into a dinner party like that.
Yeah, it's different. It's definitely different. I'm curious. I want to follow up on that if you ever get to the bottom of it.
It's upsetting.
I'll direct message the guy myself and say, I'll call you.
Let's see what's up here.
Dear Hayesy-B, I was at a local bar that has a self-serve popcorn machine in it. Noodles, you would like that.
Oh,
a grit grinder posted up to the machine and was grabbing handfuls of popcorn with his bare hands and stuffing his mouth. Should I have Clark McSorley'd him or just let it be?
So this was at a bar?
Yeah. Some bars have, like dive bars have popcorn.
That's what you're getting every single time. Guess what? When that guy, it doesn't matter what the guy looks like or the fact that you saw it live. If there is alcohol and free food, that food is contaminated with absolute
everything.
Hooliganism, exactly. Like if there's free popcorn,
what do you mean? What is the free? You mean people go and pick it up? And
yes.
Put it
Oh, I'm telling you,
drinking. Like, what are you talking about? You think people are going to be like, oh, where's the scooper? Oh, then I'm not going to have any, even though I'm starving and I've had 45 beers.
I've watched calling a game. So been upstairs in the press box. There's popcorn. There's bags. There's a scoop there. I watched a cameraman stick his grubby hand in there and grab a handful for himself while he was popcorn while he was talking to other people. Not one person goes, "What are you doing, you pig?" Like it was just like it's like the guy's done it 150 times. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, I'm not, like
you've had that popcorn.
I've had that popcorn several times.
So guess what's happened?
It's out of sight, out of mind. You don't need to see it. Sometimes you don't need to see how the hot dog's made. Yeah, exactly. You just eat it because the minute that you see it, it's frustrating.
Well, listen, that is the truth. Like there are. You remember going to dive bars back in the day, like disgusting, grubby bars where it was all young people that had no money. And
there was never any food. We would when I was at a dive bar, somebody would get on the horn and order a pizza.
That would happen sometimes too. That was always it would just be hyenas attacking the pizza when it arrived.
Man.
But I've witnessed, and I know this for a fact, there would be beer that would get scooped in, like overflowing beer, and beer that would be on on the bar or whatever.
Dude, I played with guys in the NHL that would drink halfy beers. If someone left
it
on the bar.
Into a pitcher, it's like, here's your beer.
Here's
your beer. And you're like, it's like, okay, it's 1 a.m. and people are like, I guess I'm drinking that. And their argument is, That's overflowed. Like, no one's touched it or anything. It's like, yeah, but it's been on the disgusting bar.
Yeah,
it's been like, what else are you pouring in these drinks?
I think we've all consumed something that probably should have taken us down. It's just you don't need to see it. And there is some form of, like, I don't know what the word is, class or whatever, where you're like, okay, you should try and use the scoop. You should try and use.
Not happening at a dive bar with a guy who's.
I think you just got to turn. You got to get
not your problem.
As soon as you lay eyes on it, you say, "I'm not touching the popcorn." And by the way, I'm also not saying a word to that guy because it might just.
You're not going Clark McSorley either over popcorn.
No, you can't do that.
Come on.
Dear Hayesy-B, the boys and I are heading up to Ottawa for the Leafs game. Last year, we got absolutely buckled on the Friday, took it easy on the Saturday morning, afternoon, went to the Leafs game, and went right back to the Airbnb to get some sleep because we never got rest from the previous night. Do we go bananas again tonight, take a midday nap tomorrow, and get back out there, or chill Friday night, casual bar food, and get after it tomorrow night after the game?
No, I mean, come on. This is the thing. The greatest night of any trip is the first night. Always.
Yeah, I know, dude, but I guess you're right. So you say Florida tonight and take it easy at the game.
Because you're so jacked up, especially if you're older and you don't get to see. Like, I get together with my oldest friends like once a year maybe. And the idea of it being a scenario where we all say, let's just relax tonight and everyone just go to bed early. And it never happens.
No.
You see people for the first time. You're so excited. One drink leads to the next, and one guy's already ahead, so he's the pace car, and you're like, all right, well, he's setting the tone. Like, we're all going to follow this guy's lead. So, no, you're going to get after it tonight. The siesta is a very veteran move. If you can have a little afternoon sleep and then head to the rink and then see what happens, right?
Yeah.
You got to get to the game, though. That's the worst. Like, I've been on trips where guys have gotten, like, we went to Wrigley day 3 of a trip. It's actually my bachelor party, and I had 2 buddies who didn't make it into the game because it was day 3 and they were done. And they're like, one of them came to Wrigley and said, I got to go. I'm out of here. And I'm like, dude, we're here. We're at Wrigley. Like, we're in Chicago. I get it's been 3 days, but come on.
Just tough, eh?
Couldn't do it, man. He got he got there and he said, I'm out of here. I can't do this.
Wow.
That's 10 years ago. More than that, 11 years ago. Could you imagine what it would be like now if you're in your 40s?
What I do recommend, if you're going to floor it at the game, keep it cool, keep it civil, no garbage, nothing with the fans. Keep it real.
Right, exactly. Go in there, and that's why you have a great night tonight. Tomorrow you just go in there as fans and watch the hockey game, and then shut her down afterwards if you have to.
Exactly. I agree.
One last one from our guy Greggy here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Dear Hayesy-B, my kid usually goes to bed around 7:30. I have to help out with that routine. I'm a massive Bills fan. Game starts at 6:30 p.m.
Man.
How do I rid myself of that responsibility? Is it okay to have my 5-year-old on the couch watching my phone? Worked last week. He fell asleep.
Perfect.
Wow. That is a perfect move.
It is.
This is a conundrum for, parents with young children, where you get a football game like this and it's going to be affected by bedtime.
But Hayes, let me just go first here. Is it not okay to say, look, the Bills are my team. These games don't come around that often. Can I just have the night off? Is that okay?
Well, yeah. I mean, sure. If you could ask for that, there's no guarantee it's going to be a wish that's granted. If there's multiple kids, it's difficult. Bedtime's tough. You guys know it.
I know, but it's one
really
night.
Tough.
But he's dragging his feet going, I have to help out. Like, if it's a give and take, give the kid your phone, let him fall asleep right against you. You watch the game, you carry him up in a break, in a commercial. In a way,
get to halftime.
Exactly.
That's the play.
Get to halftime,
right?
And when is the game? Sorry, is the game
6:30 is the Bills game.
But Sunday, right? So
yeah, Sunday night. Yeah, it's a school night. Come on.
Yeah, it's a school
night. Get to halftime, shut the mill down. Everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
If not, you're going to have to this is the problem with technology, and I'm guilty of it too. Everyone's like, just pause it or just record it. I don't have the willpower to do that. I will be looking at my phone wondering what's happening. I cannot stop myself. I need to know what's happening in a big game like that, and I'm sure that's his concern. But ultimately, you got to find a way to parent too, man. I think you do whatever you can to get to halftime. If not, I think it's in your best interest to shut it down early rather than late, right? You don't want it pushing into the second half. You want to be prepared for the second half. Dear Hayesy-B, brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar this January at BP. Get delicious, mouth-watering pastas starting at $11.99 every single day. Enjoy the pastas you love at the prices you can't miss. Hustle in your local BP tonight. All right. We've been helping people. That's important.
I think you got to dig into the guy with the dinner party.
Yeah, let's see where that goes.
I think we also got to be careful. There are some 60-plus people that watch the show and might take offense to that.
Well,
that's the
maybe
other
they're
thing.
On the scene, right? Maybe they're out dating. I don't know what's going on.
Let's just call it. We're not offending anyone. It's a curious situation.
It is
right?
curious. The only thing I would point out is this guy is in his 30s, correct? Is it?
Yes. That's why it's curious.
30s.
Double the age.
Double the age is big, man, on both sides.
Yes.
Right?
Big,
any which way you slice it, double the age is pretty wild stuff.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Let's try to get to the bottom of that and see what happened.
We will.
All right, today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. We're on the Bills and the under, right? This is about me and my part, CL's brother. Bills getting points plus 1.5 on FanDuel. The total's 48.5. We're on the under. I see Bills 24-21, 23-21, late field goal to win it. I think it's going to be a great game. I cannot wait for that. Both games are going to be outstanding. Today's Best Bets powered by FanDuel. FanDuel is the home for popular parlays this NFL season. Please play responsibly, 19+, physically located in Ontario. We got Leafs Ottawa tomorrow night. We got 2 football games. Got the Raptors down in Atlanta. They won in Atlanta last night. Now they stayed down there. Can you imagine what those guys got up to last night?
Oh, Buckhead. Yep.
Finally got themselves a win on the road.
Are they doing that double game?
Yeah, they're still doing that. Occasionally in the NBA. They got Atlanta on Saturday. So it's going to be a fun weekend. It's going to be a fun weekend. And the Jays are still linked to a lot of different guys, right? A lot of different linkage in terms of what the Jays could do. So maybe they sign Pete Alonso or Max Scherzer by Monday.
I mean, obviously the fan base has got to be happy that they're just having in pro sports, you can't just fold up your tent. But you wonder what it all means. It's like missed out on that, missed out on that, missed out on that, and now it's like what option are we in? Is it like 3 or 4?
Yeah,
so
it's pretty far down the list.
Yeah, and as I said a couple days ago, Hayes, what does it mean to the fan base? Like, what are your expectations with these signings, with this roster? Like, what do you expect to do this year? Because don't tell me Super Bowl.
Yeah,
no, it's not
World
right
Series.
Now. It's not World Series right now.
Is there any signing where you could go, this is going to be a 92-win team?
No, I don't think so. I mean, could you add multiple guys, possibly Noodles? If it's Alonso but you got to be realistic. They're not signing like Bregman and Alonso and multiple arms. It's just there's a budget. There's only so much they're going to spend. So probably not. The answer is probably not, but we'll see what comes of it. Mail It In Friday brought to you by Boston Pizza, Canada's favorite sports bar this January at BP. Get delicious, mouthwatering pastas starting at $11.99 every single day. Enjoy the pastas you love at the prices you can't miss. Hustle in your local BP tonight. All right. Go time this weekend. It's going to be a fun one. Lots to break down on Monday.
Coming to an end. That's crazy, man. Seems like yesterday we just started.
I know. NFL, we get back on the air on Monday. There's one game left. We got to wait 2 weeks for it. It's crazy. Yeah. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate it. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games this weekend. We're back Monday at
Owen Wilson going for the jugular. 4 p.m.
We'll chat then.